Yes, we are going live to YouTube. Tonight's subject could not be more perfect. And the fact that we're like meeting late and running late because of technology. Yes, we are going live. It could not all be more appropriate.
I have no idea. Missing all kinds of stuff, the electronics and it's kind of weird because had an epiphany on a personal level. Mm-hmm. And everything else is starting to change around me. I mean, between, the people, the electronics, like the last thing on my calendar for us was December 31st. I can't find anything for January.
That's so weird.
Telling me about it. So I'm blaming this little guy behind me, but it's getting bizarre.
Well, so you said that it would be good for us to do a session on our technology.
Yep.
And so I went with my spirit box, which records supernatural, or it's basically, it cycles through radio stations, and so at a rapid speed. So anything that comes in that actually gives a full sentence is not coming in through the radio frequencies. It's coming in from whatever non-physical being is around there that's being recorded. And sometimes you don't hear them through the spirit box while you're recording, but then later when I go and I download it and I edit it, I hear it.
Yep.
Right. So I have that. I have my EMF meter. I had my camcorder. I had my mag light. I was all equipped with all my stuff. I went to this really cool beach where a lot of there's a beach. I was still at Treasure Coast in Florida. Okay. Treasure Coast is named Treasure Coast because of all the shipwrecks. So the ocean floor right there along, like you can walk out and look at this, like it's not even that deep. It's full, like they find treasure there all the time. It washes up on the beach. So it's a very haunted area. A lot of like people who are no longer alive are still hanging out there. So I went and I recorded, and I went and downloaded it to my laptop. And my laptop shut down. And now there's no connection in my laptop between the hard drive, and it keeps saying it will not turn on. Mm-hmm. And it will not boot up. And it keeps saying there's no data, there's no hard drive. So either my hard drive is fried, or somewhere the connection from the hard drive, the rest of the computer fried. So I've had a couple of people look at it, and they're like, we don't even know what to do. So it's now at Micro Center, and hopefully they can retrieve the data and transfer it to an external hard drive, because with everything going on lately, I have not backed up my laptop in a while. So yeah, I've been going through a lot.
I know, it's just one of those things. I mean, it happened to me, and do this kind of stuff for a living, and lost a lot of pictures way back when. And after that, I try to be a little more diligent, but we all forget things, life happens, right?
Exactly. So we'll find out. So I have a new, less fancy, less expensive laptop. And the laptop I had, it's still under the 3-year warranty. So I'll get,
nice.
I'll get it replaced. I'm not worried about that. It's just all the data. But the weird thing is, like, the 2 days before it shut down, mm-hmm. I was getting a message, you should back up your data. It wasn't from me. It was coming to me. I was like, I'll get to it later, because my dad's senile and I was helping him. And that was pretty entertaining because he is at this point in his life, a clothing optional fellow who believes he does not need to use the walker and thinks he can go upstairs and really just wants to go out into the street and shout, "Hello, does anyone need any help?"
Well, at least he's nice.
He's having the time of his life. He's eating well. We had a great couple of months together. And, I got all the systems set up and the home-based aids and, bed rails. So he'd stop falling out of bed and then going, "Well, that's a shit of a situation." So there's my dad sitting on the bedroom floor, just going, cursing, trying to climb back up on the bed in the most peculiar manners. So we had a great time, but honestly, with everything we were going through there, and getting him new hearing aids and getting this and getting that and getting everyone set up, I'm not chastising myself that I haven't backed up the last few months of work. So something that I recorded triggered a complete shutdown of my laptop, but I don't know what.
Maybe it was just an energy pulse.
I don't know. I mean, so far you sent me files that immediately destroyed my cell phone.
Yeah, forgot about those.
I downloaded files that immediately shut down my laptop, as all the technicians going, "I've never seen this before." I'm like, "Oh, great." So we'll see what happens. And I have been trying to get online, like with you losing the link for us to meet on Zoom was pretty hilarious because I just got this new laptop today. And so I haven't set up all my emails and everything. So I went to my Bonita at bonitawoods.org email, but it's not in the computer yet. So I was like, "Oh no, it's 7:00. How can I get email to Kim?" And that's why you got it from another email,
Oh, it's all good. I just like, "Oh, hey, here's the link. Let's go." Make it happen.
Yeah. Now you have had more success than I have. Like you've taken some amazing pictures and videos and stuff. So
Right place, right time.
yeah.
But, with technology, we even had this way back when, more so with the film, because film has been around for, decades, right? Versus digital is just starting to come online. But I've noticed a difference in the film and the digital is big time difference, because with the film, you could still see it, but it was very out of focused.
Mm-hmm.
Like a great example is the brown lady, the gray lady. You see the figure, but it's real misty. And it seems like digital is getting it a little more clear. I mean, but still out
Like
of
that
focus.
goes behind you. Very cool
Exactly.
shot.
Yeah, exactly. Calling it boo. That's boo. But it's and then you got CCTV. Blah, 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 say that 3 times fast. Catching certain things like the one from was it Fire in Pitts Fire? It's over in England, Dublin area. And it's been there for hundreds of years, extremely haunted. They've had all kinds of rituals, Masonic and all that stuff. But the camera had caught a full apparition coming out of the door. It opened the door and it walked through. And you could see the robes, and there was a face. You couldn't really make out the face, but you could tell the robes. There was enough detail in this, and this is about 15 years ago, that you could tell what century they were from.
Wow.
So, things are getting better and better as time goes on. So orbs are great, but with the technology, we're able to capture so much more. We're able to capture clear EVPs. And, some of the stuff we've been doing here, like you've
Wait,
heard.
what? Capture who? Clara eating peas?
No, clear EVPs,
Oh,
electronic voice phenomenon. So
I thought
apparently
you
Zoom
said
is not clear.
we're able to capture Clara eating peas. And I'm like, could you imagine you die and now you are stuck being a ghost eating peas for the rest of eternity?
We're doing
Clara,
coffee and
eat your
chocolate.
peas.
This crap. But it's really funny you should say that, because my great grandmother, guess what her first name was?
Clara?
Yes.
And did she eat her peas?
I don't know, but I know I've been smelling her. So it's kind of funny that you got that name out of it. So that's just confirmation. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
So
yeah,
you were saying now we're getting clear. Well, of course it's confirmation. Of course. I mean, this is how it goes. And like, this is the sort of thing that is not really documented, but we know this is the sort of thing that just happens. We get signs that let us know, affirmations.
yeah, that they're there, that they're, just they're there to support you, right? It doesn't matter, they could just be sitting right next to you. Like my grandmother, my great grandmother, I call her grandmother, even though she's my great grandma. Her house had this certain smell, right? So when you smell it, you're like, oh, that's grandma's house, right? Because there's always, when you go back, to your mom, grandma, great grandma, uncle, and whatever, there's always a certain smell associated with these homes. Like I remember my mom's mom, I can see her face right now, but I'm having a problem remembering her name. Her basement always had this musty basement smell. It just, when I smell it, it's like, oh, okay, that's that grandma, right? So yeah, it's kind of cool. But the funny thing is when you have the cameras out or you have the microphones out, you're like, hey, let's talk, talking to this mic, right here, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't do it. But yet as soon as you turn stuff off, now they're throwing shit around, talking, new. It's like, I don't understand it. It's like they want to scare you, but they don't want to give proof. And it's like, just, I'm trying to make people see that I'm not crazy, right? But,
They're like my cat.
Yeah.
Come here, kitty. Come here. All right, forget it. That's when he comes.
Yeah, I still haven't figured out, I mean, the only other way is to antagonize, for them to use the electronics, but, that's a bad thing all the way around, because that's when really bad things happen. There's plenty of YouTube folks who hunt ghosts who do that. Matter of fact, some of the best ones, we're calling Ramboing it, come from over the Middle East. These guys have got such a sense of self and their religion that when they see the jinns and stuff, they go head first at them. And they're praying the whole time and going in. And it's actually quite amazing. And I'm thinking, hell no. Because some of these things you see, it's just, you're like, no, I'm not going to do it. And they're actually filming, live streaming. So you can actually see what they're seeing, right? So they're looking and they're also looking to the camera, which sometimes you don't see it with the eye, right? But the camera picks it up. You see the shadow person, the jinn, but sometimes you see an actual person, and you can tell, hey, this looks like a boy or a girl, the hair's dark, it's picking up more and more detail. But yeah, you should check those out. Those are pretty heart stopping, because they're just like, oh no, and then they just take off and you're like, no. Stay away, no. But yeah, it's picking up a lot of stuff. And I don't remember shadow people being picked up as much as they are now, than maybe 20 years ago, right? I don't remember shadow people. I remember it's like, oh, did you see that, or other side? But I don't remember seeing them in pictures a lot, or video, right? Because video is fairly recent, right? So
yeah, I don't actually recall shadow people. I recall from growing up seeing shadow people where they're just like, they're not mean, they're just like hanging out. But this like concept of shadow people as dark beings that want to cause trouble, that's not really something I have a lot of, like, I I'm not sure what's going on, where there was a change from shadow people being just like hanging out in gardens and things like that. The main difference that I've seen between like what I call ghosts and what I call shadow people is the shadow people can interact with each other. Whereas some ghosts, a lot of ghosts are just kind of stuck with whoever they died with, or with they're still in a loop or in a scenario or in a time, and they're living through their karmic situation. Whereas when I've met the shadow people that I've seen in my life, they're not so much stuck as they just don't feel the need to move on yet. And shadow people from different timelines can interrelate with each other. They seem to have less boundaries.
You know, it's kind of funny because I've been thinking of shadow people as time travelers, basically, or dimension hoppers, or what, right? Because they're not really a spirit attached to the earth, you know. Right. The only reason they got a bad rap, and I'm not saying, because you have the spectrum, right? But it doesn't sensationalize, right? It doesn't, hey, look at this friendly guy having a beer with his friend, right? It's a shadow person drinking a beer, right? There's no sensationalizing them. Nobody wants to go see that, right? Everyone wants to see this. Oh my God, there's a shadow person and they're being so mean, right? That's what people get drawn into, right? And I mean, again, you know, a spirit, an entity, a demon, you've got the spectrum from A to Z, from good to bad, right? And it all just depends what they want to be, who they used to be. I mean, like some of the spirits you were talking about, the earthbound ones, right? They could be Memorex and they're just constantly reliving a loop, and it doesn't matter. They will not interact with you. But then you got the intelligent ones that, you know, these are the ones that look at you and say, oh shit, they can see us. Kind of like, you know, some of the movies we've seen on, you know, TV. So it's like, look. Oh, a great one is with Ricky Gervais. And it's like, hey guys, look, the dentist, he can see us. And they all start running after him, you know. You get those type, right? Sometimes ghosts are here because, you know, they have something to complete, or they want to catch their murderer. Others don't want to cross over. Others, it's pretty good to sit here. There's a great series on Amazon called Afterlife. And it's a movie. It's freaking hilarious. I'm loving it. I'm watching it in sections, but it's freaking hilarious. And I could see how the afterlife could be like this, where one guy's just sitting around, just drinking booze all day and watching people, right? You know, and it's like, I could see people doing that.
When I do past life readings for people, you know, any of their past lives that feel connected with, you know, each of us, our past lives that feel connected with us in this life, they're here for a purpose. Either they're here to help us, they think they can help us with our karmic challenges, or they're here to, because they're completing their challenges, and the challenges we're doing while they're helping us will help them with their challenges. So, you know, they're either here to help us or for our living experience to be of help to them. But then they're the ones, I call them the peanut gallery. They're the ones that are just hanging out, watching, having fun. Like sometimes you can almost feel them throwing popcorn at you. You know, they're just like, you're in your most traumatic moment and they're like laughing and howling. How will she get out of this one? But there are plenty of non-physical beings, be it our lives, be it like from other dimensions, from other realms, from other frequencies, who are here just to hang out and watch. They're not mean, they're not scary, they don't want to help, they don't want to hurt. They're just like us watching TV or taking a class.
Exactly. And they're behind a shroud or the veil, so to speak. And sometimes every now and then it slips and you catch it, right? And it's like, hey, did you see this? It's, you know, you know, sometimes they can look really, really funky. And you know, what's funny is looking at all the TV shows and all the movies that we see, there's some pretty funky beings. And everyone's just like, oh, go Marvel, right? But if they were to walk through the door, it would be a whole different series, you know, situation, right? It was just like Gamora or the big blue guy. I can't think of his name with the Dave Bautista plays him. He's very literal.
Oh, you mean in
Marvel? Yeah.
yeah.
Galaxy.
Guardians of the
Guardians
Galaxy.
of the Galaxy. Yeah. Love that guy, right? If he come walking through the door, I'd be freaking the hell out, right? Whoops, sorry. Anyways, so
But we have seen beings like that, but they're not physical. Like they don't freak me out when I see them and they're not physical.
right,
But
but
if I see them and they're physical, because then they can be physical. But if they can't be physical, I know that there's nothing they can do to hurt me because I know my power. Okay.
no testing.
Just saying that's not a challenge, guys.
Exactly. Always got to preface that because yeah, it's not a challenge. Just trying to enlighten people.
They know my soul. They know what I do. They don't want to mess with me. So you guys who are watching, I'm finally back in Virginia. The temperature has finally gone above 30 degrees.
Barely.
Barely.
Yes, barely.
Kim and I are going to start knocking around haunted places with our equipment.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to antagonize any non-physical beings. I'm not going to go and do that thing that you see other ghost hunters do where they're just rude. They're just very rude and provocative. We're not going to do that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So I know the place I want to go first. It's got to dry out though.
Okay. All right. And I know the place I want to go first, which is, it's now a housing development near here, but it used to be a farm with a barn. And they had Civil War soldiers were in the barn as like a makeshift hospital.
Okay. Is that area accessible?
Well, the streets are, because it's a housing development, but I don't think they'll be comfortable with us spending a lot of time there. But it's an area I'm very familiar with. And then near it, this is all in McLean, Virginia, near it, there's the area that used to be a tower that during the Civil War time, they sent information via this tower. And that information went to Fort Marcy off the GW Parkway. Okay. So I want us to do because these three locations are very connected during Civil War. And I have a Civil War historian who's knowledgeable about all of this for us to talk to.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yes. So that is the first place or situation I would like us to explore. And I have a couple of different psychics who are offering to go with us.
Excellent.
Yeah, we won't bring them all, but.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I love, so I know I died in the Civil War because I have a lot of things with Civil War. I just, fascinated by it with the learning and everything. So I just don't know what capacity.
You don't want to know.
No, I do. I got an idea, but I'm not, again, it's my wishful thinking idea, right?
Right.
Cloak and dagger is like.
Well, who knows? Maybe you were a spy during the Civil War.
Could have been.
Yeah. Running messages across enemy lines.
And getting shot at. Woo, woo, woo. Hey, Jeannie.
So Kim and I are going to meet and get all of our electronics together and see what we got.
See what works.
Yeah. And we're going to start putting together streams. And we have a few, just because it might be the first place we start going to, I don't think we're going to be able to hit all three locations in one day. I think it'll take us a while to put that whole thing together, but we can still share what's as we go along.
Yeah. And the same, would take the historian with us and they can talk about the areas and then, so no, I love learning about stuff like that and different things. And I mean, when I grew up in California, they called it Bull Run, not Manassas. That's how you can tell you're either a Yank or really not from around here. And it's like, hey, do you know where Bull Run is? And they're like, just kind of like, sorry.
Yeah.
But then, not realizing how thick the shrub gets. And this is like, it's a forest, right? Because I'm used to forests in California where you can see, when you get about 5-6 feet, then it starts getting full, right? But underneath it, you can walk, right? So I'm like, how are they hiding? I get it now, right? So everything's a little different. So,
yeah, a lot of shrub here.
Yeah, but it's amazing learning some of the stuff, and it's like I didn't know this, and things that weren't taught, and so yeah, and reasons behind political and all that other stuff. Sorry, I'm sorry, I squirreled. Sorry.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of battles here since, of course, Virginia was a slaveholding state, and fought hardcore, for the South in the Civil War. And and Maryland was a northern state. So Virginia and West Virginia was a northern, right? Yeah.
I thought they were southern.
Like, I need to bone up on my history. This is where we'll get my historian friend to school up. But I can tell you there's so many battlefields here in this area because this is where the North and the South literally butted into each other. We have a lot of battlefields and a lot of old plantations and stuff. So for Civil War ghosts, we are rich in that. There are plenty of American Revolution time ghosts, but interestingly, while I saw a lot of those growing up, especially in Georgetown, a lot of them have sort of gone in the last couple of decades.
Okay.
And I think in Georgetown, it's because in the last 20 years, Georgetown went from being really beautiful and quaint and fun, maybe the last 30 years, to just being like chain stores. And a lot of buildings have been either knocked down or refurbished. And
yeah, it changes the aesthetics. And then they're like, this is not a place, because they're remembering the time when they were here, they're hanging out, right? Versus the Memorex ones, right? So it's the intelligent hauntings that, are more of the house looks the same. But on the same thing though, they could just step a timeline and go back to what they wanted, unless it's something like the movie and the others, right? Where they think. Yeah, which one's live and which one's dead, right? That was a fantastic movie. If anybody's never seen the movie with the others with Nicole Kidman, you guys got to watch it. It is a fantastic movie.
We have to stream it together. We have to do a viewing party. Now, here's the thing that you said about they can just go back to another timeline. If they're not happy with what's happening now, they can go back. Yeah. Or they can choose to just stay and not go beyond a certain time.
Yeah, kind of like freeze it, kind of for lack of a better way to put it, right? So that way the buildings are the same, and they're familiar with, for whatever reason they wanted to stay. Because I remember I was at a psychic and my father came through, and one of the things he said is that he misses chocolate. Because they're the food and that kind of stuff. So, some of this is reminding the smells and, so while they don't eat, they still have some of the other faculties still, right? At least newly dead. I don't know how, maybe mostly dead. I'm not really sure what term to use, right? But it fades away too, right? Yeah.
But it makes me think about when I was a teenager, we used to go hacking about Georgetown, on a Saturday or after school, from age 12 on, because it was really it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun back then. And at that time, like clothing wasn't as disposable as it is now. So you could go to the secondhand clothing shops and find things from the late 18, early 1900s. And you could even find some things that were older. And so I had a pretty bizarre wardrobe. Yes, I went to high school once in like a dress with a bustle and stuff, just for the heck of it, because it was old and it was cool, and I didn't care what the cheer, I had my own friends. Everyone knew that I was eccentric. But I think because people were more connected with the past, that like when I was a kid, there were people whose parents had fought in the Civil War were still old people, like, and people who had been around at the turn of the century were still around, or their children were around. And so there was a connection to the pre-technology or the pre-computer age time. Well, it was a pre-computer age time in a way.
BC?
Regular people.
BC, before computers?
Yeah. When you had to do the punch card and the massive machinery filling a room. So I think ghosts would have been more comfortable hanging out then than they would if they were old-timey than they would now.
Yeah, because you'd want to stay at a time that you remember, that you fit in, that you had some recollection,
Yeah.
It's kind of like when there's a saying that says you can never go home again, right? But I always say, but you can always go home. It's just not in the same context as when you left, right? Mm-hmm. So I went back to my hometown that I grew up in, where I graduated. And while some of the things are there, it's changed drastically, right? So it's like, I don't like it here, right? Because, it's not where I grew up. It's not, some of the stuff. And if I had to die and live there, I wouldn't be so happy, So, now even in Hawaii, things have changed in Hawaii. A lot of things got bulldozed, So, I'd probably find a reef and hang out with some sharks, right? Because that doesn't change, right?
Right.
So, yeah, or find another timeline, But it just, they're looking for the place, and that's, I think, another reason why maybe they don't know they're dead, or they're trying to find somebody, right, to figure out what happened to them.
There's still connections to the time they were around. Like maybe it wasn't the same as it would have been, say, in 1801, but there were still people who remembered life when horse-drawn carriages were how people got around.
Yeah.
But now there's pretty much no one alive who remembers that.
I rented a horse once. But but then you've got places you can go that do that stuff for tourists, right?
Well, yeah, but not in the daily life. What is it like in your daily life when you need to get from point A to point B, and the roads are not paved or they're cobblestone, and you ride a horse or you take a hansom cab, or and clothing was different. Women had to be corseted or this or that, and everything was hand washed. And, like the fact that now we're wearing t-shirts and blue jeans and we can throw things away and we hop in a car and we're meeting on Zoom.
Right.
No one alive now is connected directly to life in 1801.
No, they do it through books or through fantasy or movies.
But even still, like our grandparents were connected to that. And because there wasn't this huge technological advancement yet, our parents were still connected to that.
We were a little bit, because we got some of what they were talking about, and then the division happened. But but the thing about it is, with evolution, is while that's mundane, more or less, we're now moving into the energetic piece. And this is all energy, right? Because we're connecting through Zoom, which is energetic.
Mhm.
right? So maybe that's how we're going to get to the enlightenment piece, or yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how we got to the moon, but just saying.
But I think you're right. I mean, we're reaching a point now where spiritualists are not, ooh, we're going to bring someone who died to life, everyone be amazed. Now we're talking about multidimensional connection and, connect, like tomorrow night, I'm channeling the librarians of the Akashic Records. And
That's right.
guys who are watching, go to bonitawoods.org because I'm channeling to my website. If I can, I will live stream it to YouTube. We'll find out if Zoom will let me or not. But only the people who are with me on my website will be able to ask questions of the librarians. But if I can, I'll live stream it. If not, I'll just upload it later.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button on this so you guys can see, get notifications when we do other stuff.
Mhm.
It'll get better, especially now that you're here and we can, and it's getting warmer. Holy crap.
Well, fingers crossed. Well, I'm hoping we get one more snowstorm because
No.
I have not had a single snowstorm all winter.
No, no, and no.
I'm hoping.
You've been down in freaking Florida. No.
Yeah.
Too bad. You missed your chance. No.
Do you see how tanned I am?
If I could click that off.
I'll tell you, all of my neighbors in Maine, they're not even responding to my voicemails and texts because one of them did. She said, it's been 22 degrees below zero plus wind. We've got 12 to 18 inches of snow on the ground, another foot coming tonight. Have fun in Florida.
If you want one so bad, go north. No. We want sun. We want warm. We want 50-degree weather.
Yeah. Well,
50 degrees. Universe. No.
In Florida, they put on winter clothing when it gets to 60 degrees.
For California, when it got 60 degrees, I'm wearing a freaking parka. Now when it's down 50, it's like, yeah, light breaker will work, right? Mm-hmm. So sorry, we squirreled as usual.
Okay. So you guys, Kim and I have a lot of work to do. We're going to check our schedules and get together. The Akashic librarians are back with weekly every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'll channel messages from them for whoever wants to listen in. I can tell you tomorrow night, because they've been priming me, they're going to talk about how rocks and trees are siblings.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Makes sense.
And the powerful work we can do by really getting to know them on a personal level. So that'll be fun.
Do you want to talk crystals? We can talk crystals. Rocks, stones, whatever. We can talk about that.
Exactly. Well, have a great night, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you for stopping by.
We look forward to seeing you all soon with ghosts hanging out with us.
With Boo.
Boo.